Please subscribe to this channel and support us so we can post new sci-fi stories every day. Your support keeps us going. The void of deep space shimmered with ancient starlight as the sleek human science vessel Endeavour emerged from a wormhole that wasn't on any chart. Inside the bridge, Captain Sarah Monroe frowned at the swirling spatial distortion closing behind them, while her navigator stared at readings that made no sense. "Captain, that wasn't supposed to happen. We're not in any mapped sector, and there are thousands of signals out there." Monroe's eyes widened as the camera panned to reveal gigantic alien fleets patrolling glittering trade lanes between hundreds of massive stations, empire-spanning stars, ancient and vast beyond imagination. On the largest orbital station, emergency klaxons wailed as the Galactic Imperial Council convened in their crystalline chambers. Dozens of alien species shouted in panic, their translators creating a cacophony of fear and rage. A towering Gorvani warlord slammed his four-armed fist against the council table, his scarred face twisted with fury. "Intruders from an unknown system have breached our sacred borders. Activate all defensive grids. No species enters the Empire uninvited and lives to tell of it." Back aboard the Endeavour, the communications officer grinned nervously at his console as proximity alarms screamed warnings. Captain, someone's hailing us. And by someone, I mean everyone within 50 light years. Holograms of towering alien leaders suddenly filled the bridge, their exotic forms radiating menace as booming voices demanded through universal translators. "Primitive beings, identify yourselves immediately or face complete annihilation." Instead of the expected terror, the humans exchanged casual glances before Lieutenant Diaz muttered dryly, "Well, they seem cranky. Must be Monday." The entire crew chuckled softly, their relaxed demeanor utterly baffling to the alien observers. Captain Monroe straightened her uniform and spoke with deliberate calm that seemed to pierce through the aliens' bluster. "We are humans from the planet Earth. We took a wrong turn through what we thought was an unstable wormhole. We mean no harm." The alien council chambers exploded with outraged roars and chittering protests. "Impossible. No species enters the sacred empire without explicit permission from the High Command." A reptilian admiral with scales like obsidian hissed through needle-sharp teeth. "Prepare for their immediate surrender, or we shall demonstrate why 1,000 worlds kneel before our might." But the humans remained oddly, almost insultingly relaxed. One engineer casually munched potato chips while monitoring the engine readings. Another yawned and stretched, as if this were merely another routine deep space patrol. The alien councillors began whispering among themselves in confusion, their certainty wavering. Why are they not afraid? Do they not comprehend the power arrayed against them? An elderly alien scholar with too many eyes studied the human faces carefully, noting something that chilled his ancient bones. Observed their expressions closely. "Fellow councillors, those are not the eyes of prey. They show no submission, only calculation." What the Galactic Empire couldn't understand was humanity's unique perspective. To them, humans looked impossibly fragile soft skin. No natural weapons, requiring atmosphere to breathe. But to humans, who had survived ice ages and plagues, who had fought wars with nuclear weapons and still managed to reach the stars, this was simply another challenge to overcome. Earth's history was written in blood and determination. Revolutions that toppled kings, disasters that would have broken weaker species, countless moments when extinction seemed certain yet humanity had somehow endured and thrived. Massive alien battle fleets began mobilizing across the system, their engines glowing like newborn suns as thousands of warships moved to surround the lone human vessel. Inside the Endeavour, the crew continued their casual behavior that so unnerved their observers. "So," asked the weapons officer while sipping coffee, "do we panic now, or wait until after lunch?" Captain Monroe smiled grimly. "Neither. Let's open communications again and see if we can talk sense into them." She activated the transmitter and spoke with quiet steel in her voice. "Empire or not, we didn't come here to kneel before anyone. We came to explore, to learn, to push boundaries. That's what humans do." The council chambers fell into stunned silence. No one had ever spoken to the Empire with such casual defiance. A young alien prince, his golden carapace gleaming with inherited arrogance, leaned forward and sneered. "You are ants standing before giants. Your ship is outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Why do you not tremble with appropriate fear?" Lieutenant Diaz's response carried the weight of human history. Because on Earth, we've been stepping on giants our entire existence. Brief images flashed through the minds of watching humans, ancestors wrestling saber-toothed tigers, climbing impossible mountains, building rockets to escape their own gravity well, soldiers laughing in trenches while shells exploded overhead. To humanity, defying impossible odds wasn't reckless, it was Tuesday. The council chambers fell eerily silent as the implications sank in. One alien whispered the question that chilled them all. Are they Deathworlders? The Empire had heard legends of such species beings evolved on worlds so hostile that they became nearly indestructible. But those were myths, surely. The Admiral's patience finally snapped. No matter their origin, crush them now before their defiance spreads. All ships, prepare to fire. Alien vessels charged their weapon systems, and the void around the Endeavour began glowing with the ominous light of plasma cannons and antimatter torpedoes powering up. Inside the human ship, Monroe remained perfectly calm, her orders crisp and professional, defensive screens to maximum, weapons on standby but do not lock targets. Let's not be the ones to start an interstellar incident. The alien firestorm that followed should have vaporized any ship, but the Endeavour's shields held firm against the barrage. The crew shrugged collectively. Honestly, someone commented, we've seen worse turbulence during atmospheric re-entry. The council chambers erupted in disbelief as their sensors confirmed the impossible this single alien vessel had withstood their opening barrage without significant damage. How are their shields still functional? Monroe calmly transmitted detailed scans of Earth, showing a world of constant chaos, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, yet somehow supporting billions of thriving humans. We don't scare easily because we can't afford to. We adapt, we overcome, or we die. Your choice, which one happens here? The ancient Galactic Emperor finally rose from his throne, a being so old that his crystalline form had witnessed the birth of civilizations. His voice rumbled like distant thunder through the council chambers. You dare defy the accumulated might of 10,000 worlds. You would stand against the Galactic Empire itself. Monroe met his gaze through the holographic display without flinching. We don't want to stand against anyone. We'd prefer to coexist peacefully. But we will never bow to threats, no matter how impressively you present them. Alien leaders whispered nervously among themselves, their confidence shaken. They are too calm, too reckless, too dangerous. What manner of beings face annihilation with such casual indifference? What they couldn't grasp was that humans had faced extinction countless times and somehow always found a way through. They laughed during disasters because humor kept them sane. They sang in trenches because hope kept them fighting. They joked in space because wonder kept them reaching for the stars. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the Imperial system as hostile contacts appeared on long-range sensors. A massive pirate fleet, thinking the Empire was distracted by these strange newcomers, chose this moment to launch a surprise attack on the Council's home system. "We are under attack," screamed the tactical coordinators as pirate vessels poured through hyperspace rifts, their weapons already firing on civilian stations. Without hesitation, Captain Monroe's voice cut through the chaos. "All power to weapons systems. Helm, attack pattern Delta. Let's show these pirates what human engineering can accomplish." The Endeavour wheeled about with surprising grace and unleashed its arsenal of kinetic railguns that accelerated metal slugs to relativistic speeds, tearing through pirate shields like tissue paper. Explosions bloomed across the void as human weapons, designed by a species that had perfected warfare through necessity, proved devastatingly effective. The Galactic Council stared in shock as this single alien vessel carved through the pirate formation with ruthless efficiency. Their own fleets were still positioning for counterattack when the pirates, faced with weapons, technology they'd never encountered, began retreating in disorder. The Endeavour drifted calmly back to its original position as burning pirate hulks tumbled through space. Monroe's voice carried dry satisfaction. "You're welcome. Now, where were we in our negotiations?" The council chambers fell completely silent except for the soft hum of life support systems. Then, slowly, reluctantly, applause began, first from a few younger aliens who recognized courage when they saw it. Then, spreading throughout the assembly, the Galactic Emperor leaned forward, his ancient eyes studying these remarkable beings, who treated impossibility as merely another problem to solve. Perhaps the Empire has been too rigid in its thinking. There may indeed be room for another significant power in our galaxy. Monroe's response carried the weight of human determination, not as subjects and not as conquerors, as partners, if you're willing, as neighbors, if you prefer, but always as equals. The Emperor's crystalline form seemed to pulse with something that might have been respect. Very well, humans of Earth, let us discover what manner of galaxy we might build together. Music swelled as banners representing dozens of worlds hung in the council chambers, and slowly, carefully, Earth's blue and green flag was raised alongside them. The assembled aliens bowed not in submission or dominance, but in mutual recognition of strength, meeting strength. Humans had not stumbled into an empire to be ruled or conquered. They had arrived as explorers, unconcerned with threats, unbroken by intimidation, and utterly unwilling to bow to anyone. The galaxy would never be the same, and somehow, everyone present suspected that was exactly as it should be. In the end, the Empire had gained not subjects, but something far more valuable, allies who would stand firm when the universe inevitably tried to tear everything apart. Human had not stumbled into an empire to be ruled or conquered. They had arrived as explorers, unconcerned with threats, unbroken by intimidation, and utterly unwilling to bow to anyone. The galaxy would never be the same, and somehow, everyone present suspected that was exactly as it should be. In the end, the Empire had gained not subjects, but something far more valuable, allies who would stand firm when the universe inevitably tried to tear everything apart. 3 months later, the integration proved more challenging than anyone anticipated. The Endeavour had been joined by a small human diplomatic fleet, but the cultural exchanges revealed just how alien humans truly were. During the first formal dinner aboard the Imperial flagship, Ambassador Chen casually mentioned that humans kept venomous spiders as pets, ate fermented foods that could kill most species, and regularly jumped out of perfectly functional aircraft for entertainment. The Gorvani warlord, who had initially threatened annihilation, spent the evening calculating whether humans were actually insane or simply operating on a level of risk assessment that defied comprehension. Dr. Sarah Kim, the expedition's xenobiologist, became an unwitting legend when she volunteered to sample local cuisine during a diplomatic feast. While other species required extensive medical preparation and protective suits to consume alien foods, she simply asked for salt and pronounced the Zeltharian acid slug surprisingly tangy. Her casual consumption of what the Empire considered barely controlled poison sent ripples of both terror and admiration through diplomatic circles. The Zeltharians, who had spent millennia perfecting their cuisine as a form of biological warfare, found themselves oddly flattered by her genuine appreciation. The humans' approach to technology integration baffled their hosts even more. Where the Empire had developed elaborate protocols for safely testing alien systems over decades, human engineers simply plugged things in to see what would happen. Chief Engineer Martinez's first words upon seeing a Krillian quantum computer were, "I wonder what this button does," followed immediately by pushing it. The resulting cascade of energy that briefly opened a micro wormhole in the laboratory should have triggered a system-wide evacuation. Instead, Martinez took notes and asked if they had any bigger buttons to press. Captain Monroe found herself appointed as humanity's unofficial ambassador, a role she approached with characteristic directness. During heated negotiations over trade agreements, she would interrupt endless bureaucratic debates with simple questions like, "What exactly are we arguing about?" Her tendency to cut through millennia of diplomatic tradition with practical common sense initially horrified the career diplomats, but gradually earned grudging respect. When the Hytherian Trade Consortium tried to impose restrictive clauses designed to limit human expansion, Monroe simply asked why they felt threatened by a species that had explicitly requested partnership rather than conquest. The Empire's military advisors struggled to categorize human warfare doctrine. Traditional imperial strategy relied on overwhelming force applied through established protocols refined over centuries. Humans seemed to operate on the principle that any plan was merely a starting point for improvisation. During joint training exercises, human tactical officers would casually discard elaborate battle plans the moment circumstances changed, adapting with a fluidity that left alien strategists dizzy. "Your species fights like controlled chaos," observed General Vexhai, after watching humans turn a simulated defeat into victory through methods that violated every known principle of military science. Perhaps most unsettling to the Empire was humanity's relationship with danger itself. When the research station on Proxima 7 suffered a critical reactor failure, the alien crews followed proper evacuation protocols while issuing distress calls. The human maintenance team, led by Chief Petty Officer Jackson, simply walked into the radiation-soaked chamber with some basic protective gear and fixed the problem manually. Their casualness about exposure levels that should have been fatal prompted the Empire's medical corps to conduct extensive studies of human physiology, only to discover that these beings somehow thrived in environments that would sterilize most known life forms. The cultural exchange programs revealed the true depth of human peculiarity. When Ambassador Chen organized movie nights featuring Earth cinema, alien audiences sat through disaster films in stunned silence, unable to comprehend entertainment based on survival scenarios. The comedy genre proved particularly incomprehensible. How could beings find humor in situations involving pain, embarrassment, or near-death experiences? Yet somehow, watching humans laugh at their own misfortunes became oddly infectious, and soon alien diplomats found themselves chuckling at situations their ancestors would have considered tragic. As the months passed, the Empire began to realize they hadn't merely gained allies, they had encountered something entirely outside their experience. Humans didn't fit into any existing category of species classification. They weren't warriors, though they fought with terrifying effectiveness. They weren't explorers, though they pushed into dangerous territories without hesitation. They weren't diplomats, though they somehow navigated complex political situations through sheer audacity. They were simply, incomprehensibly, human. The transformation wasn't one-sided. Humans began incorporating alien perspectives into their worldview, though always through their unique lens. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez became fascinated with Altarian meditation techniques, then modified them into what she called combat zen, achieving inner peace while simultaneously plotting 3 different escape routes. The fusion of human adaptability with alien knowledge created innovations that surprised everyone involved. By the time the first joint exploration mission launched toward the Galactic Rim, the partnership had evolved into something unprecedented. The Empire provided structure, knowledge, and resources. Humanity contributed unpredictability, resilience, and an apparently genetic inability to accept the phrase "that's impossible." Together, they formed something neither could have achieved alone, a force capable of facing whatever unknowns waited in the vast darkness between stars, armed with both ancient wisdom and fearless curiosity. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to this channel and support us so we can post new videos every day. Your support means the world.